but the cost should not be money. It should be your hunger and your desire. A kid in grade 10 who's not attending class, who wants to smoke, should be kicked out of school because clearly they're not serious. And the kids that are willing to work, everyone should do whatever it takes to make sure that that kid gets that education, and it shouldn't be a monetary thing.
Okay.
That's the solution, at least for me, in terms of the free.
I just want to ask you about the kids that are discouraged. Not the kids that are incapable of learning, but they're discouraged. So, you know, maybe they didn't have the best marks, maybe they didn't have the best speaking skills, they didn't have the best environment at home, they didn't understand how their education could help them be part of the solution to their family's generational debt, and could help them then pass on generational wealth once they get older. Those kids that are discouraged, should we now be discouraging them from attaining education mainly because they weren't taught the value of that education and how transformative it can be in their own lives and in the lives of the others? And I just want to go to an example of myself. I'm a 3-time dropout, and I'm going back to that because you wanted to ask me about that. And the only reason is because, you know, my dad could pay for the school fees up front. My dad didn't only pay for my school fees, he also paid for the school fees of his sister's children who were educated in rural Limpopo. So they went to Gwambeni High School in what is this, Ashewoko, which is rural Limpopo, close to Tzaneen. And we've got the top mechanical engineering student in my family. In his year that he graduated, he's now part of SAIMECI, which is the South African Institute of Mechanical Engineering. And to qualify for SAIMECI, you need to be the top 2 student in the year that you graduate. We also have his younger brother. He's now a metallurgist with an MTech. Their older sister is an electrical engineer, and she's one of the top engineers at Eskom distribution right now. My sister, Elina Mashimzi, she's got an MTech in electrical engineering. We also have a BTech in IT, a BTech in civil engineering. All of these are my dad's younger sister's children, who are now qualified, and our family is now in the mining engineering space. My cousin runs a business in Palabora, and they do mining engineering and service some of the big mining corporations in Limpopo.
Shout out to your father, and shout out to those kids for pushing as well.
My cousins,
Congrats
yeah, my
to your
brothers and
family.
sisters.
Yeah, I'm going to be brief. I'm going to hand over to Penson, and I'd like the gentleman to come through with his question. You spoke about discouragement. I wanted to try and answer Siabonga's question because I don't think it was answered. The reality in life is everything hamba in connection. I was going to say it's capitalism because it looks like capitalism, but the reality is that everything in life, it could be at a traditional function. If your aunt is the one dishing, uzotoli played el nenyameningi before everyone else. So the real solution to that is to try and get as many people in your community as possible to get into spaces to pull you guys in. That's how the whole world works. It's how it's always worked. Even if you look at the kings before colonization, if you are close to the king or the chief, you won. Until we change those things, and part of that is building your own. We can't get into that company, so we will build our own. We can't get into that space, so we'll build our own. Outside of that, look, you can try and get into politics and then have merit-based appointments in government and business so that people are forced to be qualified. But for now, I just want you to have this idea that nepotism won't generally end because it's a human thing. I want my brother to come into a space, but you want to try and make sure that he's qualified. So for us, how do you get into spaces through talent, bribes, whatever, and then how do you pull other people in for that? In terms of discourage, very short, because it's going to be a very long answer. I'll say that for people that don't have advantages in life, some of them we're going to lose them along the way, and we must focus on the ones we can get to a certain place, and then hopefully they can bring other people later. Sorry, Penson.